How long have you guys been together?
About 2 years. Me and the drummer met each other. We were working at an agency that assisted battered women.
That's Debbie.
Debbie, yeah. Debbie was working on the crisis lines, and I was doing fundraising. And one of the lawyers said, "Oh, you play guitar? You should meet Debbie. She plays drums." And we got together and jammed. And
classic story.
yeah, I thought she was really, really pretty good, you know. And next thing we had to find a bass player, so I started asking every single girl I met if she played bass. No kidding. It'd be like I'd meet somebody, I'd be like, first question is like, "Do you play bass?" And if they said, "What, huh?" I'd be like, "Oh, I like your face, forget it." You know, "Oh, you didn't hear me right, it doesn't matter." And then just like, I mean, what ended up happening was I was at a show, some friends of ours in a band called Blue Movie. They were playing at the Farm, and a good friend of mine, who I've known for years, was out with her. And I looked at her, I was like, "Do you play bass?" And she, instead of saying "huh," was like, "No, but I'd like to learn. I play guitar." And I said, "Well, I have a bass you can borrow. Call me tomorrow." And so she did. Maggie also learned how to play the bass in 2 weeks. I mean, it was phenomenal. A month after we got together, we had 3 songs that we knew how to play. And we immediately went into the studio and recorded a demo tape of 2 of them. Because I had been in lots of bands before, and I said, "Man, I'm going to do it right this time. Let's just get that damn demo tape done, even if we don't know how to play a whole set, you know. The set will come later." Yeah. And 6 months later, it was like at the top of the charts, KUSF, you know. It was the #1 demo tape. And by then, 6 months later, we knew how to play more songs. And
lots more songs. It was like,
we started gigging. And
you felt pretty happy about it?
Oh, yeah. We've been real happy. And then, you know, we'd only been together like 6 months before we went to the studio and recorded the album, or 9 months, I guess it was like. In May, we did our first gig in November of '85, and we were recording in the studio in May of '86.
Did you think that you had something going there, something different to offer?
Yeah, it's a different approach. You know, I think that like right now, there's a lot of women in music, like the Bangles, who I have a lot of respect for, because they do know how to play their instruments. I saw the Bangles long before they had a major label contract, and I was real impressed with them. They sing great, they play great, you know, they have a great look. Now that they're like so polished and so slick, you know, with major label dudes, you know, they've lost a lot of what I originally liked about them. And like Madonna, she has her own trip going, you know, like we don't dress like that. That's not what we're into. We're just like, you know, smart girls who play good music and put out a lot of energy.
So you're not into trends, you're just playing into music.
And being ourselves, you know, being real, like, you know, Yahoo rock and roll partay. It's like, you know, we're not really into image, you know.
Girls just want to have more fun.
Yeah, basically, something like that, without having to, like, you know, be too out and, you know, Bozoville or anything.
So you're going to go touring then? To Canada?
We're going to go up north. And I think that, like, we got a lot of pals in Seattle and Portland and stuff. And I think that going up north, it's more like our kind of people. You know, it's like more of a Northern California type energy. LA has its own trip. It's like New York, you know. It's like people are so involved with image and stuff like that it's really hard to just, you know, do something original and honest and have them appreciate it. I think you're trying to.
Or just looking like yourself and doing
not having a big hairdo or something.
Like, oh, these people suck.
Yeah.
I think when we play Seattle and Vancouver and Eugene and Portland, people will be, you know, they'll like recognize themselves in what we're doing, as opposed to LA where they're like, "I don't get it." I mean, they're kind of cute, but you know, what are you talking about? Yeah, we're at the end of September, we're going up north. We got dates in like Eugene, Portland, Seattle, and we got people up there too, pals in all 3 towns. And then we're gonna go up to Vancouver for a bunch of dates, maybe across Canada.
Yeah, and then the shows that you have already set up is sort of like a setup for you going on that tour.
Linda Champagne, our fabulous manager, has been like on the phone with people all around the world, setting up more fun around the world for like, you know.
So how's Jenny, our marvelous record company employee?
Oh no, it's really funny. I like pretend that I like, you know, I'm somebody else. I call up, you know, radio stations and I'm like, "Hi, I'm calling from our record label." And
yeah, I do that for the magazine.
Exactly. Like, "Wow." Yeah, I was definitely like, "Hey, are you playing our record?" It's like in Seattle, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're playing it lots." So I'm like, "Well, we're going to send the girls up there on tour and what clubs are they playing?" And they give you, you know, they're always like, "Oh great, here's the clubs, here's the contacts, here's the phone numbers." I'm like, "How about a radio interview?" They're like, "Oh, radio interview, no problem." I'm like, "You know where we can stay when we come up there?" And they're like, "Hold on a minute." Yeah, right. Yeah. But no, we'll wait till we get there to ask them if we can stay in their houses. No, but we got pals, so it's kind of fun. I mean, it's.
How did you get her involved? Did she find you, or you find her?
This other DJ at KUSF
that was funny.
We weren't going to be
San Francisco would not be done up by LA. They might have Wanda Coleman and Exene doing spoken word, but damn it, there's even better poets in San Francisco. So I invited a DJ from KSF to a poetry reading, and he came and he's like, great, let's make tapes. And he invited me and some other, poetry pals up to the studio to make tapes. And Linda was on the air, and we were making these tapes, and she's just like doing her DJ thing, watching these like crazy poets doing cartwheels in the Studio C, going wild. And and we were introduced. And then, we started, see each other at shows and stuff, and I was like, and we got along.
I met Maggie at the Ivy.
Yep. Sam, Mrs. Green introduced me to you.
Really guys, Mrs. Green, the drummer, Mrs. Green.
It's like, Maggie's in this band called Fury.
You're like, huh?
Yeah, in San Francisco, it's weird because like all the kids in bands know each other, and KUSF people, it's almost like a family. It's like in September we have this gig with Blue Movie and the Catheads at what's now the Kennel Club.
This is called Misadventure Meets Young Grant. Nightclub, bottle of bud, passing the jug of one-liner plugs, catching your eye when you caught mine, and we both smiled. Same color. Girl rock with a poetry twist. I like it straight. Follow this. And young drummed authority, driven to sweat, vibrating effect. Can we connect? Kiss your color kryptonus. Into phone numbers, a stoned evening blunder, hanging out in a long-distance land. Remember your happiness in my hand. Nighttime found my soul's asylum and a sunny North Beach memorandum.
To the tour, what are you going to do? Go back in the studio for new songs for a possible album?
Well, we got a lot of stuff we have to take care of. We're in the middle of doing the museum song video.
We're doing a video.
We're in the beginnings of doing that, so it's going to last for a while. And there's just a lot of stuff that we got to work out between.
We have enough material to record another album. We could record it tomorrow if that was our choosing, but that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think that I would also, we're going up north for our first time out, but when this snow melts, I wouldn't mind touring myself, we'll see. At this point, we've always pretty much lived in the present. It's important for rock bands to, keep an eye on the future, but to really live in the present, because you wouldn't want to miss all the fun while you're having it, because you're so busy being like, oh, what are we going to do in 6 months? What are we going to do in a year? It's like,
That's her job, right?
well, or not even. Because, it's such an emotional thing, playing music. It's really, really intense, and, you go through changes. All bands go through their changes, so at this point, we're starting to shoot the video on Monday, over at the Legion of Honor, and then we'll go up north and see what happens when we come back.
Who's producing that video?
We're producing it ourselves, and it's being directed by Peter Moody, who did the Campers video, Take the Skinheads Bowling, which was I don't know if you saw it on TV, but it got some play and it was pretty hilarious. And we're trying to get permission from the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco to film inside the museum, and I've been talking to them, and we've connected with this woman who's rooting for us. We have somebody on the inside who's pulling for us, and I have to write a letter to the chief curator being like, I know that you usually charge a lot of money to reproduce your images. They charge you a fee per image, but we're asking you to waive the fee, because without today's starving artists, there would be no art history tomorrow.
And being your artist yourself.
Exactly. And having no money whatsoever. We're hoping to win over his heart.
Okay, then after the video, then you will eventually go on back and tour and back to your
Make another album.
Make another album, sure.
Yeah, definitely. We're the girl who designed our last, Tamara Cohen, who designed our album covers, working on cool, funky stuff for the next album cover. And we're all definitely thinking about concepts and what's it going to be about anyway.
How do you feel about that first album? Do you feel comfortable with it?
Oh, I'm so pleased with it. It's the best we could have done. We gave it our everything for what it is. I think it's beautiful.
That sums it up right there. The next album, what kind of an attitude will have?
I think attitude-wise, it'll probably be the same. I think that one's perceptions don't change that much. My insight will stay the same, and my outlook will stay the same. I don't feel that attitude-wise it'll be any different. I think that we're going to probably get into more complex arrangements. I also play flute and saxophone. I play flute on one song on the album, and I look forward to having more complex arrangements and stuff like that. when you make your first album, you know, you've made a demo tape, but your familiarity with the studios and the things that you can do in a studio, it was a learning process. It was like from square one, learning how to mix an album, learning how to work with producers, learning what producers can do for you. And I mean, it was just an incredible learning experience. And having that knowledge now, I assume that when we go into the studio the next time,
We'll carry it on to that.
yeah, we'll go in with being educated, you know, just like with a certain amount of education and ability to even expand. But I feel like the first album is a great documentation of the songs, and that I think that the sentiment, feeling really comes across in the album. It's just a really honest document. You know, it's like, well, here we are, here's a bunch of songs we like and we hope you do too, you know? And it's not overproduced or anything. We left a lot of the like mistakes and glitches in there just to...
Yeah. Who are you going to let somebody produce your song? Have you picked somebody already?
Well, we had 3 different producers on our first album. We worked with Tom Mallon, who did Chris Isaac's stuff.
Yeah.
We worked with Dan Levitin, who had worked with Jonathan Richman before. He did the majority of it. And we worked with Matt Wallace, who did the museum song. And Matt's great. Matt's really amazing.
He did the McGuire's album.
I heard so much about
And he did Faith No More. He's doing
He's
the
got
Monkees
such a good
album
ear,
now.
and he's like such a happy person to like
Yeah.
hang out with. He really keeps you in great spirits. Doing the museum songs, a very happy, special thing. It's just like.
And he also had ideas about it, you know. I mean, we had recorded it like 4 different times with 4 different people, and Matt was like, he actually heard things in the music. It was like enhancement. He actually acted like a producer. He said, you know, let's try this, let's add this neat little guitar thing here. And he really added to it. It was quite enjoyable.
You talk about a lot of the other bands supporting you and whatnot. What bands do you like up there? What?
The Donner Party, the Catheads, Blue Moody, the McGuires.
How about you, Dave?
Bardo. I like Bardo.
Bardo's
Bardo's
great.
wonderful.
The White Fronts
The
are
White Fronts are
amazing.
great.
The Ophelias are
Shower Scene.
Shower Scene's hanging in there.
Camper.
Spot 1019. I mean,
Spot 1019's great.
Flying Color.
yeah, Flying Color. The list is endless, really. There was Eskimo.
Eskimo, Berkeley is great.
Yeah,
Muskrat.
Muskrat, sure. The Scraps are happening.
I don't got enough.
No, but it's weird because it's like family, you know, and it's nice to feel like you're part of the community.
She lives in a museum, man, you ought to see him. She's got Picasso on the wall, she's got Kandinsky in the hall. There is no price for admission if you're an artist or musician. And do you want to spend your life that way?
That was the Furies on KFJC and Museum Song from their album Fun Around the World. And we also heard a couple of interviews with the Furies. Jennifer, Joseph, Maggie, Iman Heiser, and let's see, Deborah. What was her name, Dennis?
That would be Deborah Tenorino.
Oh, there it is, yes. Yeah. Deborah Tenorino. And also a poetry by Maggie.
That would be Mrs. Adventure.
Miss Adventure. Okay. Miss Adventure, that was by Maggie.
So I guess we...
By the Furies.
Yeah. Now we go to Santa Cruz. And
Camper Van Beethoven.
Yeah, one of the first band interviews for our first issue was Camper Van Beethoven on May 3rd, 1986. This South Bay band from Santa Cruz was one of the most offbeat interviews Dave done, but I was there during the recording, and I was able to obtain a live recording at the farm, which I attended a Camper Van Beethoven show in San Francisco on May 4th, 1986, and that will be our next track.
Camper Van Beethoven on KFJC.
Who started this whole thing? Who started the band and all that stuff?
Jockey stuff.
Yeah.
Was, well, it's actually not a jock. It was a white century. So long and in-depth story, but he was, what was it, Bay of Biscay? He's diving, kind of in the chest.
No, it was in the, out in the South Pacific, Lost Islands of Lemuria, I guess.
Yeah.
And they were doing observation there in Maine that happened to have his chest that had all of the secretly encoded documents that inspired us to start this band and contained, of course, all the words and all the music.
So
it was like divine inspiration.
Yeah, a few minutes. Well, I'm to an extent, some of it are coming from
we do that a lot.
Kind of connect the dots?
Yeah. It's pretty much like connect the dots,
Yeah, kind of. It's just like, it's not a loose prophecy. It's kind of like a rough sign, and it's yet to be like really polished. That's our job.
How long does it take? 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years now? How are you doing on your 5-year plan?
We're 3 years into it.
3 years into it? So what do we expect in 5 years?
We can't tell. It's a secret. It's really hard to say.
Hey, now, come on.
Like the prophecy unveils itself to us like month by month. You know, it's like these little clandestine meetings.
Like we're supposed to be recording this month, but we don't really know what songs are yet.
Yeah.
So much.
We haven't even written them.
So it's purely guesswork then.
We're
waiting for the call from that channel.
The call comes down. I think the phone rings. And, I don't know. I think it's a Sprint number, but
you like have a guru. Somebody you follow.
A guru?
Yeah. Our guru now is Tom Baker.
Yeah, Tom Baker.
How many hours you put in watching Doctor Who?
Well, it depends on where we are, but usually about 6 a day when we're off days.
All right.
Yeah, his mom videotapes it for us.
All right.
Yeah. It's not a lot either. It's like 6 hours a day.
So is he aware of you guys? You say like, I'm gonna go and catch.
He made me up.
Catch his band.
Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get these weird little shudders, and
do you know he's thinking of you?
I don't know. I feel like I have this big scarf around my neck, but I don't know.
Well, I think you have a kindred spirit.
Like a veil. I don't know. I just feel like this big warm fuzzy feeling around my neck. And I think probably from past life. Is it like wool or is it like silk or? It's kind of woolly. It's kind of
silky, kind of woolly.
So I don't know. Maybe that's. Other than that, but there's no other communication beyond that. So we can, except it all comes to us, but we don't.
Maybe you were Tom Baker in a previous life.
So warped. We're not warped at all. It's completely straight. We're being completely honest. These are standard answers for standard questions.
when are you going to start open like...
We're at the big time already.
Yeah, this is big time already. Look, Victor can afford a haircut.
I can afford a haircut?
My mom bought me some 3 new pairs of pants, so I'm set.
Yeah, it's great. You're set for, and things are like...
But see, I usually see guys opening for like hard, motley. Oh, I'm into it. Well, they haven't called us yet. We're working on stuff. Working on it?
Yeah.
Opening for this June next weekend. That's pretty... Huh?
No, that's not a joke.
One person was... Well, in Seattle, Death called, actually, on the phone. We were on the radio program. Yeah. Death called? Death called, yeah.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Wouldn't say much. What you have to talk? Not much to say, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of it was really interesting.
Did you say like you next or anything like that? No, we didn't say anything like that. It was really cool. So like, when you guys playing? Yeah, well, this is your next gig. When you playing, I'll be there. Let's talk, have a couple beers.
He didn't show up.
That's not what I know. Probably had some prior engagements. Like, what's your favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing to do?
Yeah. Like together, collectively, or individually? Individually and collectively. Hey, I'm Joe Flexible.
Collectively, we like as possible without actually like saying anything without verbal communication. Unique psychic exercise, but I think we're accomplishing it rather well.
We're pretty good at it. What's your favorite TV show? So what do you watch TV?
I like the Young Ones, actually. To be honest, I actually saw one episode of the Young Ones and loved it. And that was probably the most enlightening thing I've seen on TV in a long time.
BBC show. I
don't know what else I like. I don't have a TV in my house. Yeah, I
seriously watched television for like 6 or 7 years.
Seriously, I see about 6 hours of TV a year. It's a big alien culture. I watched Nightline the other night after the reactor blew up. I rode over to my friend's house in my bicycle and like checked that out. Quite productive. Yeah, that was really good. I liked that. Like Russian danger sign that was flashing at me. A nuclear plant exploded in the Soviet Union on Saturday. That's really.
Did you guys want to talk about anything in particular?
We talked about a lot of things. I don't know. We're going to be on the cover of Bam, and everybody's going to know. They are. I'm not.
We've gotten our lately a lot of our inspiration. I read this article in the Chronicle on Mr. Ed the Talking Horse and how it was actually a show about devil worship and how the lyrics to the song "A Horse is a Horse, a Horse is a Horse" backwards are like revealing all these satanic messages. Including one about evolution, right? Like that one on DNA, right? And no one.
And there's a forthcoming Sonic Youth album where it's called Evolve. It's actually up backwards. Right. It sounds like Evolve, which is really weird if you think about it.
Like if you write love a whole bunch of times, and then you like turn it over and it says Evolve, Evolve, Evolve. Yeah, but you have to think about it. How would Mr. Ed talk unless he was somehow demonically inspired?
I think they give him caramel.
Yeah.
Just after you keep it, it makes your
jaw. It makes your jaw go. I'm more from off. You can say things like, I'm that's what he's really saying. Yeah, I live with things. And they just dub in like, howdy or whatever.
It's really wild. I understand.
Yeah, like a little Wilbur.
Just like a Japanese movie.
Yeah. Actually, they're saying, we're coming to get you, you God worshippers. We're going to kill you all.
Have you ever seen Mr. Ed's post? This is a really important. They're closing. Scary as all. And that tail steak, man. You like good.
Yep, there's a little point on the end. Alright, well, we're going to go sound check.
every day. Just like every day. It's just like every day. Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. Never forget the day that I washed my face in the sink and I went to the store. I bought some bolts and I bought some napkins and I went back home to wash my face again. It's just like every day. It's just like every day. Just like every day. It's just like every day. Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream.
This is KFJC, and wrapping up the last 30 minutes or so of the Pow Magazine Anthology special. And that track was Ice Cream Every Day by Camper Van Beethoven from their album Vampire Can Made... What does it say?
Mating Oven?
Mating Oven? Vampire Can Mating Oven. Okay. In an interview, also heard them doing their track called Wasted, which was recorded live at the farm October 4th, 1986.
So the next, actually it's the last band from Santa Cruz for our Mayhem show, was the funniest interview. I'd done an interview with Spot 1019 in 1987 at One Step, but I was able to obtain a live recording at the farm, which I attended a Spot 1019 show in San Francisco on October 4th, 1986, which you'll hear a little bit later.
So we're going to go on with Spot 1019 on KFJC. This is the last half hour of the Pow Magazine Anthology special on KFJC.
How's the record doing? We in the Bay Area, it's doing really well. It's really our only been out about 3 weeks. We like airplane. We know it's going to fly airplane in the Bay Area and in LA, but beyond that, 20 hours out, the distributor sells it, the wholesalers, and they have 60 days to pay or return records. And all the records are out there with wholesalers and distributors. But we don't know, how many stores have bought them and where and what other radio stations we sent promos. The response they're getting is radio stations. They did put cards into the records, and they're kind of getting a good response from the college radio stations that they send the promos out to see we are in the rotation in a lot of the stations. That's mainly, we know here from talking to the stations, Telex and KUSF, KFJC, KSCU, KSJS. All the stations sold out in Francisco. They did? But they, wow, that's amazing. At $8 an album.
Yeah.
They dumped us. They didn't. At first, we thought we were going to get a deal with them.
It was all verbals. Like they were going to they were going to take care of the pressing through pitch and pen.
They acted real interested. At first, I thought it was just the people who didn't give a shit or were like somewhere else, like removed from it. It kind of made me happy when I found out it was because it was hard to pigeonhole it because it's like so often people are like, oh yeah, this is like punkabilly, country punk, whatever it is. Yeah, metal gun.
But anyway, we really lucked out because Texas Records is like record label and a record store. It's got Michael Meister. Santa Monica.
Michael Meister. Michael Meister. Great guy. Michael Meister.
All hail Michael Meister. And he's so in Southern Record, it's one individual basically getting it out there and having the connections and knowing where to send promos. And he's taking care of all that.
And it's the world's most informal agreement too. We have not signed anything. Camper Van Beethoven basically is Pitch Tent Records. Has never promised. It's all verbal, and I mean they presented us with a couple of potential written agreements. But we've got 1,000 records out there that are almost sold right now, and it's kind of nice in a way. I mean, we don't really worry about being taken at this point because they are friends of ours.
We outweigh them.
He's helping us. People are going to be seeing Michael Meister in People's Court in about 6 months.
Well, there was no
Judge, listen to this record. And
well, Judge Wapner didn't know what to say because he just didn't know how to pigeonhole these guys.
Yeah, really, I can see the
defendants.
How did you feel about that?
Is it punk or what? Well, you wait.
Sorry we couldn't make it tonight.
Okay, you guys going on tour?
Well, I hope so, yeah.
Maybe.
Possible.
Campers is in May when we get back.
Somebody takes us on a tour.
If they get back, they say they're going to come back and take us on a tour.
We're too shy to do it on our own.
Yeah, really.
Your music. Who writes all the doctoral music? Great.
He writes lyrics.
Pretty much, yeah.
Plays the drums.
Yeah, I play guitar.
It's pretty collaborative.
Everyone's pitching.
Yeah.
Uber collaborative.
There's a few songs that were around before I was in the band that still have pretty much the original lyrics intact and stuff.
Sometimes me and Pete write lyrics.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
I wrote a song we played tonight.
Jim wrote a song that's on the album Seltzer Blue. That was a Jim Lyons song before it was a
King King.
Spot 1019 song. Yeah, it's all yours, Jim.
Hey, I wrote Old Tigers.
Pete wrote Old Tigers, yeah.
Old Tigers.
Jura Peace War.
Yeah, Peace War and the other one.
That's gonna be on the next
About
album.
the interesting people you meet every day. Yeah. Sorry, I think it's funny, you know.
No, I did too. Peace War is a good song.
And for our third album, it's gonna be
a statement about the society.
It's gonna be a double album. Each one of us will like write a side. Yeah, Tales from the Tober Chocolate Ocean.
We're gonna have Ronald Reagan and William Shatner duet on it too, like acapella between all our songs.
So, what's next for the band?
Probably load the equipment and like go home, watch. Go to work tomorrow. Yeah.
I took the day off so I could like be awake enough to play tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna do that as soon as this tape's dead. But
you should record it.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa, conceptual.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, man. How do you
sound it, dude?
Put that in print.
Golden showers.
Tinkle.
Round and 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 round.
That's gonna be on our fourth album.
That's one whole side of the fourth album, yeah.
Play backwards.
The other part,
it's an old camp song.
Our proposed for it.
John Yoko. So we have one whole disc left.
The original Yoko Ono band with John Lennon on guitar and Ringo Starr on drums and Klaus Bormann
yeah.
on bass.
That riff.
PIL out the window. Original Yoko Ono, man. They were just
Yeah, got people ragging on Yoko. You know, she proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that woman is indeed the nigger of the world, because people are still ragging on her and saying that Yoko is the reason the Beatles broke up, and if she does something legitimate, it's like,
she also could sing better than the Beatles.
That's just like
she could sing better than Lennon, and Lennon played his best guitar stuff on her record. So
it's nuts, yeah.
McCartney was a 60, the Beatles sucked, and anyone says Yoko is really stupid.
What do you want to say to your readers?
Make sure that you have a bright light on, because if you're reading this in the dark, it's going to really strain your eyes, and you won't be able to find our address when you come over in about 30 or 40 years to like party with me and Jim and our like choppers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bauhaus, YouTube, Duran Duran, New Deborah Harry, New Talking Heads, any of that stuff. Just, never mind.
Yeah, where's Chaka Khan?
Yeah, but listen to all forms of music, no matter how he is. And no matter how much you think you hate it, you should listen to it anyways.
And after you've listened to all of it,
don't be afraid.
Listen to Funky Town and MacArthur Park by Donna Summer.
I want to make sure everyone like eats the proper foods, like from the 5 food groups. Like there's beer and pizza and there's cheese and hamburgers, and what's the fifth one? The fifth one is
chips of all sorts.
Use simple directions.
And start the water cold before you boil it, or you'll not have enough oxygen in it.
You'll be like cranky as hell in the morning, and after a while people leave you alone, and you'll get the respect and the privacy you need.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right.
Well, I dreamt I saw the old tigers playing outside your lawn. As they played, I could hear them saying how very fond they were of you. I dreamt we were alone on an island, just you and I. In the bush you could hear the tigers singing us a lullaby. Outside your lawn, as they played out
was Spot 19 on KFJC, the Pow Magazine Anthology special, and that track was Old Tigers. And also heard interviews with Spot 19 and another track of theirs, Prisoner of Man, live recorded at the farm.
Well, we're coming down to the last part of the show, aren't we?
Final stretch.
Are you hanging in there, Sal?
Yeah.
The last band from the Bay Area for tonight's show are the Electric Coals from San Francisco, but are originally from other parts of the country. I interviewed the band for our second issue on December 5th, 1987 at the Chatterbox in San Francisco.
Here are Electric Coals on KFGC.
So where are you guys off from? Well, Pete's from here. He prides himself. He was born in San Francisco, but he grew up in the East Bay. I'm from Iowa, actually, and Julia, mistress of the bass, she grew up in Washington D.C. area.
Born and raised in San Francisco.
Okay, San Francisco, huh?
We are Frisco band. Pete and I are Cole brothers, and we started playing in the band 3 years ago, and we didn't have any members, so we played on the street. Then when we found out how cold it was, we decided to go indoors. And we played some shows, some bigger shows back when the Swedish American Hall was a quote-unquote scene.
When we were bigger.
About a couple of years ago, when the Morlocks were here, getting in Time magazine and stuff like that. We were playing on those shows acoustically.
Then we got this stupid idea of getting a bass player and a drummer.
Yeah, we're trying to live that down ever since we had them in the last year and a half.
We make half as much money now. We just split the money 4 ways.
What a shame! It's such a huge part of your income too.
Yeah,
I know it really cuts into your
$5
payment.
go 4 ways. This is 2 ways.
So the Electric Coals, how long had they been together? About 2 or 3 years?
No, Electric Coals.
Summer of '85.
Summer of '85. That's right.
We had another bass player that we had to. She couldn't handle the twice a month practices. So we had to let her go.
She's the only one who's ever left the Electric Coals and survived.
She's okay, but she just couldn't handle practice.
So you replaced her with another girl?
Well,
not exactly.
The strategy was the best. Yeah.
Not exactly.
Actually, Julia's a transvestite.
Somebody has to look good.
But she's the best looking one of us in drag, so it was
Doug wouldn't dye his hair, so we had to get Julia.
Do you plan to make any records?
Well, we're actively seeking the proper contractual setting.
We've made the first move
But those fucking
by being eliminated by Greg Shaw, which we feel pretty good about.
Yeah, I think we managed to alienate the right people.
Yeah, starting with Greg Shaw.
Writes the songs, the original songs.
We steal them mostly, but Mike doesn't write any of them.
And I don't write any of them, and Doug doesn't write any of them.
See, we try and play a song, and then it kind of comes out like an original.
Then what songs do you like to play live?
To play live?
Yeah.
Fluctuation.
Things we're doing, don't be afraid, don't put too much on it. It's just a reflection, never assume it to be any more than what it is. Live your life or judge another by what the sound is doing. It can't change but not arrange, it goes where it's going. It's just noise. Just noise. It's just noise. It's just wow. Yeah.
This is KFJC, and wrapping up the final minutes of Pow Magazine Anthology. The Electric Coals is what we just heard there with Just Noise from the 1988 studio demo. We also heard a interview with the Electric Coals. And I'm Sal 9000 here with Dennis Gonzalez.
Yeah, and we're actually going to end the show with the last band tonight. And Pow Magazine also interviewed bands from outside the Bay Area, and Dave and I interviewed the Flaming Lips at the Berkeley Square for our first issue on May 3rd, 1986.
Here's the Flaming Lips on KFJC.
You guys all from?
We're from Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. All Oklahoma City. Who's responsible for starting the whole thing?
Me. And me and my brother, the guy that doesn't sing anymore.
Yeah, what's
the guy that quit?
He
just didn't like it after a while. He was trying to buy a house and put his wife in school and stuff, and it just all got too much. We was going out, playing so much, and he just like, hey, I can't handle it.
So what you doing now?
Putting his wife through school and buying a house. I mean, that's a good thing to do, I guess, in a way, but it's not, you know, he couldn't do both, and so he quit, and so we said, okay. And it wasn't as big of a deal, you know, as we thought it would be. Actually,
we didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal anyway. You seem like you guys play out here a lot.
Yeah, we play around here too much, I think. Yeah, we drive out here too much.
Have you gone out to the east yet?
That's coming up when we get back. We're going to Atlanta, and we talked to a guy in Boston and Philly.
Those are 58 clubs, full hotel.
That's where we're playing.
40 watt? You on 40 watt?
I don't know. We're going to try to get the night after that at the 40 watt.
Where'd you get your name?
Just
his mom and dad gave it to him, I think.
My name. It sounded good at the time. There was so many of those.
Man, I got to ask you about the picture. The picture on the front cover of the EP.
Oh, with the
skull. Yeah. What happened? Was that at a gig or what?
No, it was just where we practice. We have all this weird laying around, and we just take
sitting back there taking a bunch of pictures.
He's just goofing around, and we just turned out and looked really good, so we thought we'd use it. Yeah, we just made the name up. It sounded good. It didn't sound hardcore, if you know what I mean. It sounded good at the time. So.
Yeah. So what are you guys into? Like, what are you listening to?
Rock and roll. I mean, you know.
Like what? Everything?
Everything good. Everything good, I'd say. Led Zeppelin, you know, replacement, you know, Echo and the Bunnymen.
Goes to everything.
Everything, really, everything. Everything that I like. Bob Dylan, older Bob Dylan.
Hey, Bob Dylan.
Hey, man.
Hey, Bob Dylan.
No kidding. Just everything.
Who writes the songs?
We all kind of do. Like I come up with some basic ideas, and everybody kind of gets together and works out.
Yeah, songs kind of explain themselves, it seems like.
Yeah, you know, just little things grow into these things that you hear us play, you know.
Kind of like mold?
Kind of like...
Mold? Yeah, mold does that.
Well, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So you like...
What's your latest recording?
We're getting ready to go do it in L.A. We're going to do it with Enigma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good label.
You know, and we're getting ready after we play the IB Monday.
Who you playing with?
Three Guns. And then we're going to go do the recording down in L.A. like next week.
Who's producing it?
We don't know. We think we are. We hope we are. We don't really
much
know.
as we can get away with it.
We want to. Yeah, but we'll see. We said it.
See, we're soft now.
They play in New York and all that?
Yeah, that's where we're going to be heading up next. We'll see how it goes up there. You know, we've never been there.
What bands do you listen to nowadays?
Well, like Sonic Youth, you know, like, yeah, I'm glad they got a new record coming out. What did I hear the other day? I heard some Soul Asylum.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
You know, I like it. I haven't got to hear a whole lot of it. A little bit
New
of
album's really good.
Good. Well, who do they sound like to you?
They sound, well, like a...
Replacements kind of...
Yeah,
loud.
more like Husker Du.
Yeah, which is...
With a little,
yeah,
like humor tossed in there.
Did Bob Mould do there? Yeah, well, there you go.
He did the last album, too.
There you go. That's why. Boy. Bob Mould gets around.
Yeah. Oh, the new Huskers album's great.
You like it?
Yeah.
I think it sounds a lot like, you know, their last couple. I don't think it's no great departure or anything.
No, but, you know, it didn't sell out or anything.
No,
like,
it sounds like
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Like they did, you know, backing vocalists and
I know. Well,
section.
I just wish they'd go ahead and try some new ground. I mean, we saw them this other night, and it's like, yeah, they're good and everything, but every song is like the same thing. Here we go again. They're great guys. They're really nice guys, that's for sure.
Yes, and that will be coming up next. The final track here on the Pow Magazine Anthology on KFJC. Sal 9000 and Dennis Gonzalez signing off for tonight.
We finally did it. 4 hours. But we had a lot of fun, didn't we, Sal?
Yes, we did. And we'll be back here next Tuesday night. Same bat time, same bat channel.
She wanted to say that. I let her do the honors.
So I'd like to thank you for listening. And Pow Magazine Anthology Part 2 coming up next Tuesday night, the 17th, 7 to 11 p.m. We're going to leave you with the Flaming Lips and their track Bag Full of Thoughts here on your source for mayhem